Lakers talk is on.
710 ESPN.
Certainly the news about Andre Drummond, that's a tough one. Just that he left the game. He left right big toe contusion.
Giannis hook pass to DiVincenzo, blocked by Drummond. His first significant play as a Laker.
It's Lakers talk with Allen Sliwa.
Let's go.
The mere fact that in his debut for the Lakers, he didn't get a chance to go toe-to-toe with Giannis.
18 seconds remaining, and I think Milwaukee will probably just dribble it out.
Well, the Lakers got to bounce back Friday at Sacramento. Hopefully, Andre Drummond will be able to play.
From the home of the world champs at LA Live, this is Lakers Talk.
Here's Allen Sliwa.
What is going on, Laker fans? What is going on? Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. This is the Lakers Talk. Let's call it the Lakers Talk postgame show. Let's just do that. We just finished Lakers Talk on 710 ESPN, 7 to 9 p.m. Then we come here and we do the social show once a week. Okay, we got a lot to get into. As you guys can tell, the technology keeps growing on the show. We got even a bar here that just has all the topics right there, and a lot going on. I think we're up to 180 people on this show. 180 people working in the background. Okay, probably not. Probably just me and Carlo, but that's none of your business. Okay. Okay, a lot to get into. Let's start off with this. We got some news on Andre Drummond. So the Lakers, Dave McMenamin put something out a little bit earlier. Adrian Wojnarowski, I think, was working on the story with him. Lakers optimistic that Andre Drummond will return soon, but he will not make the trip to Sacramento, and he'll miss the Kings game tomorrow. So no Andre Drummond for the Lakers tomorrow. This was from Drummond. This is yesterday after the game. I'll read this off. Just unfortunate to have this happen to me in the first game. It kind of was a little deflating for me, but my head is high. I'm going to take it day by day and come back better than ever. This, I guess, is exactly how the Lakers season has gone. Andre Drummond has misses pretty much the second half, only plays for 14 minutes in his first game as a Laker. Anthony Davis has missed 20 games in a row and has only played in 23 of the 48 games. Do the math. That means he's been out for 25 games so far this year. And then LeBron James has missed 6 games in a row. Missed the entire second half, that game against the Atlanta Hawks. That was almost 2 weeks ago. It's kind of the way the season has gone. Lake Show doesn't seem like can catch a break, but that is the latest update on Andre Drummond. And, I was planning to do this anyways, whether he, obviously got injured or he didn't. Unfortunately for the Lakers, and unfortunately for him, he got injured yesterday. I was going to spend a little time on this, and I want to go through the expectations for Andre Drummond this year. The expectations for Andre Drummond this season as a Laker. So I think there's kind of two ways to look at this. Two ways to look at this for the Lakers is this. One expectation you got on Andre Drummond before LeBron James and Anthony Davis come back. And then another expectation you're going to have on Andre Drummond after those guys return. So before they come back, he's got to step up and fill a void. A really important piece for the Lakers. So I don't want to underestimate how important I think he's going to be in the short term for the Lakers. And certainly what I'm referring to right there is, let's say LeBron and Anthony Davis don't come back for another couple of weeks or 30 days or whatever the case is. He's key because he becomes, if not the most important player, one of the most important players on this team. Him, Dennis Schroder, Montrezl Harrell, you would say, are the key players on this Lakers team. So the expectation for Andre Drummond before those guys come back is incredibly high. It really is. Now, the reality is he's got to play like a franchise player for the short term. But the Lakers never brought him in the buyout market to be a franchise player. That's not what he's supposed to be. And frankly, I think if that was the expectations, we'd be in a lot of trouble because I don't think Andre Drummond, as much as he can fill a void, I don't think is the skill set where you're building a team around him. So the expectation over these next couple of weeks, he's got to be a big-time player. He's got to fill a void, obviously, for the Lakers, and he's got to play like a superstar for a couple of weeks. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you could define superstar, but what I'm talking about is 20 points and 10 or 11 rebounds a game. That's what they need from him in the absence of Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Now, with this toe injury, like I said, Lakers are optimistic that he will come back soon. I don't know what that means. Maybe he misses a game or two and he comes back after that. You got the Lakers, Kings tomorrow, and then the Lakers-Clippers coming up against the Sacramento Kings. That game's on, or I'm sorry, against the Lakers-Kings tomorrow, Lakers-Clippers on Sunday. By the way, real quick, let me check the score. 86-83, Nuggets over the Clippers. Okay, keep an eye on that. So that's the expectations, in my opinion, on Drummond before LeBron and Anthony Davis come back. When they come back, what are the expectations? Very simple. Now you're just a role player. You fill a void for the Lakers. You grab some freaking rebounds. You play some defense. You grab a couple lobs. You're an inside presence down low. You play the 5 when the Lakers need you, and then at times they're going to use Anthony Davis at the 5, so they don't need you there. He becomes one of a key role player, but one of the role players for the Lakers. That's the expectation for Andre Drummond. Nobody's saying this guy's got to come in here and he's the savior to the Lakers. There's only one savior to the Lakers. It's health. That's it. That's the savior for the Lakers. Lakers have a chance to win an NBA championship if LeBron and Anthony Davis are obviously fully healthy. And if they're not healthy, Andre Drummond's not going to come save the Lakers. And I think for those who label him that way, or I think there's this perception that people outside of Laker Nation thinks that that's how Lakers view him. We view him. That's not the case. He's a great role player, a key role player, and he fits a specific need that the Lakers, obviously have in that center position. So expectation for the Lakers, that's my expectation for him before everyone comes back healthy and after everybody comes back. And, obviously the Lakers are healthy from there. All right, let me read off a couple comments here. Let's see what we got here. Anakin, without Drummond, will Gasol start? I think they put Gasol right back into that starting lineup. No question about it, right back into that starting lineup for now. Everybody's watching the Clippers game, of course, the Clippers-Denver Nuggets game. 89-86, 4 minutes and 18 seconds left to go. We can multitask here. See what else we got here. Allen, about time the Lakers bench KCP for Wes. I'm going to talk about what players later in the show. I guess you could say from a positioning standpoint for the playoffs, you're not going to play 12 guys. So we'll get into that a little bit later. See what else we got here. Shine Nesviar on YouTube. We are losing games because of Vogel's inability to make the rotations properly. Shine, we are losing games because we don't have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That's why we're losing games. That's the reason why we're losing games. Herman in California on YouTube. Will Drummond play against the Clippers? Not sure yet. Team's not sure yet. So I'll just say at the end of the day, I think on Drummond, this is a perfect example here. Needs to play a bigger role now. Will not need to play a huge role once LeBron and Anthony Davis come back. And it doesn't mean that he's playing a small role. It doesn't mean he's playing an insignificant role, but his role will be very specific to his strengths when LeBron and Anthony Davis are there. Okay. So I have Brian Windhorst on my Lakers talk show. And I wanted to bring him on because I listened to the Hoop Collective podcast that he does. And this week he had Nick Friedel on and Mark Spears. One of the conversations was about Dennis Schroder. And the conversation about Dennis Schroder was that Schroder reportedly gave up, or not gave up, but did not agree to an extension with the Lakers. Lakers reportedly offered him 4 years, $84 million, which is the most that they can offer for Dennis Schroder. So part of the reason why I want to bring Brian Windhorst on is because I heard it on the podcast. I want to get his thoughts on the Drummond signing and then also more on this Dennis Schroder deal. So I'm going to give my opinion on what I think is a fair offer for Dennis Schroder, and what I think, his value is to the Lakers. And then you guys can obviously give me your thoughts on this as well. And then we'll take it from there. So I'll say this on Dennis Schroder. If the reports are, accurate, and one of the things that Brian Windhorst mentioned, he said that you don't know if all of it was fully guaranteed. I mean, there could be a lot of things that came into play here, which is why maybe Dennis Schroder decides, hey, I'm not going to take that 4-year, $84 million deal for the Lakers. But when I heard those numbers, I thought to myself, that's a damn fair contract. That's a good contract. If you're Dennis Schroder, you're making $21 million a year. You get to play in LA. You get a chance to compete for championships. You're a piece of, obviously a championship roster, but you're not the piece where all the pressure falls on your back and you could still make $21 million a year. I don't know. To me, that sounds like an incredibly fair offer for Dennis Schroder. And he mentioned this after the trade deadline. He talked about how it's going to be important for him to just test the market. He's never been a free agent, an unrestricted free agent before. And Brian Windhorst, even on the interview today, talked about how one of the things with Dennis Schroder is this offseason, there's about 7 teams that got cap space for over $20 million. And, a lot of teams, there are not that many point guards that are going to be available. You could say Kyle Lowry, but Lowry's 35 years old. Dennis Schroeder's only 27. Schroder certainly has an upside. But I thought to myself, damn, is a team going to come out here in the summer and give Dennis Schroder 4 for 100, 4 for 110? And that's obviously what Dennis Schroder is banking on, because why else would he say no to the Lakers for 4 years, $85 million, or $84 million? It seemed like a very, very fair offer. And I think we've got a chance now to see enough of Dennis Schroder where we know what his value is. We know what he brings to the table. Lakers almost played 50 games so far this year. They played 48 games. You only play 72 this season. So there are not that many games left, 24 games left. So we're a good portion of the season complete. And I think now we know what Dennis Schroder brings to the table. So I'll ask Laker fans out there, what kind of money do you think is a fair contract for Dennis Schroder? And look at it from a Lakers perspective. Is that not enough of a contract, or do you think, he's going to get a lot more money of that in the summer? Okay, let's read what we got here. Got people telling me Aaron Gordon's a big-time addition to Denver. I don't argue that, by the way. I do think that's a really, really good deal for the Denver Nuggets. Tony Martinez says he is not worth $100 million. David Sabatini, Schroder is crazy. $21 million is right in the ballpark. Okay. Maybe I'm not crazy then, because I thought that seems like a very fair offer and a fair deal. By the way, this doesn't mean that he doesn't want to play for the Lakers, but he kept emphasizing, I want to be a Laker, but I want to go through the process of free agency. I get it. I mean, think about it. You only get a couple times. He's never got an opportunity to be an unrestricted free agent. Some of these guys, there's the allure of everyone telling them how great they are. There's the allure of all these different organizations picking up the phone, talking to your agent, saying you're unbelievable. We want to build around you. There's so many different things that we could do with you. So maybe he comes back and eventually signs a similar contract in the offseason after he goes through the process. But I think he would have just signed the deal if he thought that was, obviously a fair deal. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Lenar Kofa, he's not worth no more than $25 million. If you mean that a year, no, it seems like a lot to me. This is a good one. This is Allen paying over $35 million for our starting backcourt is an overpay. What he's referring to there is KCP's getting $13 million a year, and then if Dennis Schroder gets $22 million, there's $35 million a year or whatever the case is. So there is definitely some question marks in the backcourt, especially because KCP is not, unfortunately has not been delivering for the Lakers. And I got Laker fans. I bring up a topic and they're like, no, we want you to get into KCP. I'll get into KCP in a little bit. Bade Abdul on Facebook. Was his refusal that made the Lakers wanted to include him in the trade for Lowry? I do actually think there's definitely something about that. I definitely think there's something about that. When you talk about that trade deadline, yeah, I'm sure the fact that the Lakers did not get an agreement on an extension, they decided, okay, maybe we got to go a different route here. And, Kyle Lowry was obviously an option, but that deal never happened. What do we got here? Nuggets, Clippers, 190. Nuggets, 36 seconds left. Stay focused, Laker fans. I'll get into that in just a second. Give me some time. You guys know. This is the home of Nuggets Nation. I do Nuggets post-game shows, so you don't have to tell me what happens when and if the Nuggets seal this thing up. Give me a second here. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Link on YouTube. Schroder is a $15 million player, but got no choice, got to pay him. He's not a $15 million a year player. I'll tell you why. It's very simple. Somebody's going to pay him north of 20, no question about it, because the Lakers were trying to pay him north of 20. So, again, who knows, what the details of that deal was. Maybe the details on that deal, maybe it wasn't fully guaranteed. Maybe it was 3 years, and then the final year is a team option. You just don't know all the details there. Let's see what else we got here. A lot of people agree with me that that deal is a fair offer. Gotta be honest, I agree. That is a fair offer. Okay, see what else we got here. Somebody giving a shout out to his mom. Okay, don't understand that one, but all right. Alan, do you think Lakers will increase their offer in the offseason? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's a very reasonable deal. Bosar on Periscope. He doesn't have a jumper or range, defense and slashing, yes. Fern on Periscope. I think it's ironic that Dennis said it has to be fair for both sides when he declined that deal. Let me say this, Laker fans. You know what some of the good thing is about not getting a deal done? I think I have so much curiosity of how Montrezl Harrell is going to do in the playoffs, how Dennis Schroder is going to do in the postseason, how Andre Drummond is going to do in the postseason. So I actually think the Lakers are in a good position where you don't have to jump to conclusion. They were obviously trying to get a deal done, but let's see how these guys do in the playoffs. It's all good. I think you could always worry about next season as you get closer to the summer. And I think probably the other big thing that kind of weighs in on everything, let's see how this team performs together in the playoffs. Okay, before I get into the playoff rotation, let's do a little roll call action. Where are you guys tuning in from, Laker fans? Where you guys? Okay, if it's the first time you've ever been a part of the show, welcome. Thank you for being a part of the show. Roll call is very simple. All you got to do in roll call, tell me what city that you're tuning in from, and then I'll try to give you a shout out. Sometimes these go a little fast. I can't keep up. Yeah. By the way, follow us on all our ESPN Los Angeles platforms at Allen Sliwa. Subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, all this other stuff. All right, start reading these off. Paul Perinelia, all Palenka's fault equals Lakers fail. How are you going to blame Pelinka? Dude's freaking delivered everything since he got here. No blaming Pelinka, I'll tell you that right now. This is an interesting scenario. God, let this game just finish, and I'll get into the scenario here in a second. Fred VanVleet makes $22 million and gets better than Schroder. That's actually DJ Poke Chops. That's actually the exact comp that Brian Windhorst gave. Was the same deal that the Lakers were offering Dennis Schroder is the deal that Fred VanVleet took in Toronto. I think that's a great comp. Great comp. Difference is Fred VanVleet has been to the finals, hit some key shots, and better outside shooter, but not nearly as good of a slasher as Dennis Schroder is. Okay, let's see what we got here. It's so much easier when I do the roll call on this show, and I can actually see all the comments. This is amazing. Amazing. Okay, so, all right. Nuggets Nation, everybody. Nuggets Nation, 101.94. Nuggets over the Clippers. Welcome to the Nuggets postgame show. It's nothing like. I have people on here, by the way, saying, "Hey Al, it's not good if the Nuggets win because they're right behind us, and now they're tied with the Lakers. Portland's right behind us too." Let me tell you guys something. We're not staying in the 4th spot, so I don't know what you want me to tell you. We're going to fall behind no matter what. Let's just have the Clippers fall with us. Let the Clippers fall with us. So can't really worry about the NBA standings right now. You just can't. All right, Maryland, thank you for tuning in. Auburn, New York, Pepsi Center in the house. I've said it 50 times. It's not called Pepsi Center anymore, but Denver just won, so it's okay. Anaheim, Brazil. Almost choked, Laker fans. Linwood, California, thank you for tuning in. Liberty City, Highland Park in the house. Indonesia in the house. Okay, what else we got here? Somebody's at my house. Little Rock, Arkansas. Vancouver. Vegas. 3rd and Fairfax. Rancho Cucamonga. Little Italy. Baltimore. It's supposed to be for San Diego. That's not supposed to be for Baltimore. You guys have a Little Italy? Maybe you guys do. All right, let's see what else we got here. Georgia in the house. Thank you for tuning in. San Marcos. Portland, Maine. Auburn, New York. People sending me their full addresses. Not sure why. Someone's at the Great Western Forum. Yuma, Little Rock, Arkansas in the house. Laker fans everywhere. Literally Laker fans everywhere. I can't read all these. Albuquerque, thank you for tuning in. I have to forward here. Mount Vernon, Washington. Italy in the house. Spurs lost. That's true. That's good too. Holland in the house. The Bahamas in the house. Tustin, California. Victorville. Phoenix, Arizona. East LA, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Mount Vernon. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you. Thank you, Laker fans. Thank you for tuning in. Laguna Beach. If I miss you, just stay consistent. Rochester, New York. Someone's in the Nuggets locker room. Moreno Valley, California, Newcastle. All right, thank you for tuning in. Okay, what's the next topic? I forgot what the next topic is. What do we got here? Playoff rotation. Okay, playoff rotation. By the way, let me just say this real quick. In the standings right now, Denver's now going to be tied with the Lakers. Portland's right on our heels as well. We're not staying in the 4th place. It's just not going to happen. Without LeBron and Anthony Davis, it's inevitable that the Lakers keep falling in the standings. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Sacramento tomorrow is not a guaranteed win. Of course, Clippers on Sunday. Hey, never know. Never know against Clippers, you know? They could choke away a game at any time. The schedule in April is brutal. I don't know when AD's coming back. I don't know when the hell LeBron's coming back. So it's going to be it could be some time before those two guys come. So you're going to be falling in the standings, to be honest with you, and I don't really care. I'd rather see the Clippers lose, so they lost again. Okay, playoff rotation. So here's my question to Laker fans. Typically, you're not going to play 12 guys in a rotation in the playoffs, okay? So my question is, let's say the Lakers got 10 guys that they're going to play during the playoffs, which I even think that's a stretch, okay? Not a stretch, but I think that's a fair number. We'll just go 10 guys. What 2 guys get left out of the rotation? That's my question, Laker fans. What 2 guys are not going to be in that playoff rotation, playing major minutes or whatever the case is? It's kind of a tough one, to be honest with you, because you got to make selections based off of, do you want vets in there? Do you want talent in there, but they're youthful and they could make mistakes? There's kind of some things that you have to weigh here. So list me the players that you think won't be part of the rotation by the time we get to the playoffs. Let me kind of give you the question marks. Here's who's in: Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Andre Drummond, Dennis Schroder, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma. Those guys are locks. They're going to be part of the rotation, period. Okay. Then the guys that you think are going to be a part of the rotation. Okay. Alex Caruso is going to be there. KCP, you assume, is going to be a part of the mix. I mean, hell, the guy's been starting, so why wouldn't he be a part of the mix? Alex Caruso was a key player last year in the, obviously in that playoff run. Then you're kind of starting to ask some more questions here. I'm a fan of Markieff Morris. I like to see him. I think he'll be very useful in the playoffs. Talen Horton-Tucker I love, but how much, THT, do you worry that some of his youth and some of his inexperience can hurt the Lakers at times? Then you got Wesley Matthews. You got Marc Gasol. I think those are the two guys you can probably easily say, oh, well, those are the two odd guys out. But I'll read some of your guys' comments, and you guys can tell me what you guys think here. So let me take a quick look here. KCP and THT. Okay, I got to be honest. I'm going to be surprised if people say THT on this list. Not because I disagree, but because I think Laker fans just assume, oh, no, he's young, he's talented, he's going to get a lot of minutes in the playoffs. I don't think those are guaranteed. I really don't, especially as you get to the playoffs and every possession becomes more and more crucial. I think THT will be used at the right time depending on matchups, but I don't think it's a guarantee and lock that you're going to see this guy playing 25 minutes in the playoffs. I really don't. The KCP part, God, the dude has not been playing well. You got to imagine by the time we get to the playoffs, KCP is contributing. You got to just imagine. You know what I mean? Like, the dude's been starting all season long. Let me read off a couple more here. KC Rosales on Facebook. KCP. Don Lovato on YouTube. KCP. Read off a couple more here. That's right. I didn't even mention Jared Dudley. I won't count Dudley because he's got his injury, so let's keep him out of the mix here. James Gavatt says Gasol. I think there's a way to use Gasol. Okay, hear me out on this, Laker fans. Here's my way of using Gasol this upcoming postseason. And Coach talked a little bit about this yesterday. I think Gasol can actually do well in the second unit. If Gasol plays center in the second unit, and I know Montrezl Harrell is the second unit. He typically plays center. But I don't think it's a stretch to have Gasol play the 5, Montrezl play the 4, Kuzma play the 3. These are all guys coming off the bench when you're healthy. Gasol's such a good and willing passer. He could set up guys like Kuzma. He could set up guys like Montrezl Harrell. He could set up guys like Wesley Matthews, using that as an example. Now, the way it seems right now, it looks like Gasol is definitely the odd man out. I'll say that. I mean, I think that's a given here. When you added Andre Drummond and Montrezl has been playing 5 at the center position off the bench, Gasol is clearly, technically going to be the odd man out, but we'll see, what changes. Let me read off a couple more of these here. Kubara Damba on YouTube. Something is not right with KCP and Alex Caruso. They are both missing their usual 3-pointers, and they scare the hell out of me. Yeah, Caruso hasn't been great either. I mean, he certainly hasn't been consistent by any stretch of the imagination. David Sabatini, Gasol, and THT. He thinks those are going to be the 2 players that will be out of the rotation. It's early, and Lakers still have another roster spot. But you obviously know that these guys are not going to play. They're not going to play 12 guys a game. So that's not going to happen. So we'll see what happens. A quick shout out here real quick. Power Pro Plumbing, Heating, and Air. By the way, I had that Power Pro come out this morning. Air conditioning's not working. All of a sudden, the temperature just skyrockets. I got to turn the air on. Air's not working. What happens? Call Power Pro, come out, do their diagnostic, check on what the problem is. They come back tomorrow morning. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to take care of the issue. Power Pro Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Appreciate their partnership on this social show. Greatly do. Big of Laker fans you're going to find. The owner, as big of a Laker fans you're going to find. If you're local here in Southern California, you got an issue with your plumbing, you got a heating issue, air conditioning issue, powerproplumbing.com. All right? So appreciate their partnership. Ouch. Blue Diamond Gem. Turnover Tucker can stay on the bench. Jeez. Relax, man. Dude has 6 turnovers yesterday. All of a sudden, turnover Tucker. Man, people are ruthless on this channel. Get that bag, Sliwa. Okay. I want Carlo's going to put up the Lakers and the Nets roster here. I want you guys to look at both of these rosters real quick. At least the starting lineups here. All right. So here's the deal, Laker fans. Let me kind of explain here. There are, let me actually get this one out of there's 2 tiers in the NBA, okay? At least for the contenders. You have 2 tiers. You have one tier that includes 2 teams. One's in the East, one's on the West. It's the Lakers and the Nets. That's tier 1, okay? That's your cream of the crop. If both of these teams are healthy, it's the Lakers and it's the Nets. Okay? Those are the 2 teams that should be in the NBA Finals. And it would be a shock if it's not both of those teams if both teams are healthy. All right? Health is going to obviously be the main thing for every team out there. If Nuggets, if Jokic isn't healthy, or if Clippers, Kawhi's not healthy, okay, those teams don't have a shot. Same thing with the Lakers and the Nets. You need all your guns. Okay? That's tier 1. Tier 2, in the Eastern Conference, is like a team like we saw yesterday, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Philadelphia 76ers, kind of go down the list of these different teams, the tier 1 and the tier, or this is for tier 2. So the reason why I mention this is teams in the Eastern Conference are looking for one thing. If Brooklyn's not healthy, we got a shot. We got a shot to get to the NBA Finals. And that's the Miami Heat, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Milwaukee Bucks. Those 3 teams are the most likely to, compete. They think they have a shot if Brooklyn's not 100% healthy. Okay? Look at the other side of it. Let's say the Lakers are looking at the Western Conference and tier 2, tier 2 is like 6 teams. Okay? I guarantee you Portland, Denver, Clippers, Utah, Phoenix, who am I missing? Whatever other team that I'm missing, all think they got a shot to represent the Western Conference if the Lakers are not 100% healthy. Utah's been great, but I guarantee you every team I list off think they could beat Utah in a 7-game set, or they at least got a shot against the Jazz. There's tier 1 and tier 2. Here's my question to Laker fans. Look at these 2 rosters. Who's got the better roster? These 2 starting lineups, and we're not going to put the whole depth of every single player. We could talk about it. This is, in my opinion, the difference between the Lakers and the Nets. It's very simple. Difference between the Lakers and the Nets is this. Lakers have legitimate size. And the Lakers can get a stop when they need one. They're not probably as potent as the Brooklyn Nets on offense. James Harden's been ridiculous since he got on the Brooklyn Nets. Dude is, making a case for MVP, especially now that Joel Embiid and LeBron went down for those injuries. If they didn't go down for the injuries, he was not going to win MVP. Now he's making a case for it. KD hasn't played since February 13th or something like that. They're number 1 in the Eastern Conference. You got a solid team. Joe Harris, you got DeAndre Jordan, depth-wise, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, solid team. 3 superstars. But this is my question about the Nets. Can you get a stop if you need it? Can you get a stop? And I don't think they can. And I think the Lakers can. And that's the one thing. Yes, the team could put up 130 every night, but I think the Lakers got size, and I think they got guys that can get defensive stops. And, obviously on this roster, do the Lakers got to be healthy? Yes. Do the Nets have to be healthy? Yes. But that's the difference, in my opinion, between the Lakers and the Nets. Okay. Let's read what we got here. Lenar Kofa says, honestly, the Nets, but we got Braun and AD. Levi Jose says, Nets bench is dangerous. We have to win with defense. Got another guy saying Nets can shoot. Nets have size as well. The Nets are extremely good. They got size, but they don't have size and skill. Anthony Davis is the best skilled big man that easily by far of all these players. Andre Drummond is a legitimate big that can go get you 15 and 12 a night. So using those as an example, that's actually below his average, but you got to imagine that his average comes down. Tony Martinez wants to take KCP out of the starting lineup for Kuzma. Well, it doesn't mean that, whoever starts, it doesn't mean that's what you're going to close with. If KCP's not playing well, then, that's probably going to change. But KCP, the one thing you want him in games is because he can play defense. Don Lovat, Lakers are better, just being honest. Let's see what we got here. Got somebody on here saying Nets are better than us. I'm going to disagree with that one, but that's why we do these shows. I want to have these debates. Like I said, these are my arguments. My arguments are Lakers got more size and the Lakers got an ability to get defensive stops. That's the difference. By the way, if Andre Drummond didn't come to the Lakers, I would say that we're on the outside looking in. Nets are the favorites. Andre Drummond comes to the Lakers, I change my opinion on that. Okay. A little surprised here. I think a lot of people are saying that the Nets here. There we go. KCP will show up in the playoffs. That's what I'm talking about. That KCP will show up in the playoffs. That dude's got to get his confidence back. Every time he shoots a shot, I feel like his head goes down. Pick up your head. Why is your confidence down? KCP's a good shooter. Jed saying he's late. Jed, we could start the whole show over, bro. Just let me know. Okay, somebody says they miss. Somebody's saying that they miss Kwame Brown. It's great to know. Okay, got to be honest. I got a lot of people. I got a lot of people on here saying that there's actually a lot of people think the Nets are. Nets have a better roster. Oh, I like this. Anthony Castro. The Nets are fast food. Lake Show are farm fresh. Defense wins championships. Anthony, I like that. Anthony's going to the organic part of the grocery store. He's going to get the good stuff. He's going to get the good stuff right there. He's not walking into a fast food restaurant. Okay, a fast food chain. He's sitting down. He's eating his meal properly. Okay. All right. So we got a lot going on here. Okay. Let's move on topics here. We got to keep going here. I don't know. I just finished the two, and we got this show. I got Laker game tomorrow. Okay. Here we go. Next 5 games for the Lakers. All right. All on the road. So you got the Sacramento game. It's kind of a, I don't want to say must win here, but look at all those other games that we have. Sacramento and Toronto are the 2 games that, obviously are on the schedule that you think, okay, if we don't have LeBron James, we don't have Anthony Davis, and we don't have Andre Drummond, we know for tomorrow. Now you got, remember that game right before the All-Star break? LeBron James took that game off. Lakers lost 123 to 120 to the Kings. We're in a good position to win that game. They didn't have LeBron and AD. It's going to be the same guys fighting tomorrow. So hopefully Lakers can get a little bit of revenge. Clipper game's going to be tough. The game against Toronto every game without LeBron and Anthony Davis are tough. So I don't even pay attention to what the records are. I mean, Orlando was a tough game. And then Orlando beat the Clippers. I think they beat somebody tonight, too. I don't know who they beat. Miami, Brooklyn's going to be very tough. So tough 5 games coming up for the Lakers. April is brutal. Let me tell you guys that. April is brutal for the Lakers. Just brutal. So I was saying this on Lakers Stock. If you could just get LeBron and AD back, can you get them back in 30 days? Can they be back by May 1st? You're not going to start the playoffs until the 3rd week of May, unless you're in that playing game. So that would be on like the 17th or 18th of May. But if you get these guys back, hopefully, of course, Anthony Davis is sooner. Hopefully LeBron sooner. But let's just say May 1st at the latest. Okay, now maybe you're in a position where you get a couple weeks to work together to kind of try to get into some kind of groove. And then it's full throttle from there, because wherever you are in the standings, there's not going to be no ramp up in the playoffs. You might be playing Utah in the first round, or you might be playing Denver in the first round, or the Clippers. So obviously a tough 5 games coming up for the Lakers. And they got the Kings coming up tomorrow. Starts tomorrow, 5:30 is pregame show. Tip off at 7. Okay, Laker fans, I'm going to throw in here. Final topic. Any questions you got, start chiming in on these questions. And I'll try to read a couple of them, and then we'll call it a night. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's see what else we got here. What do you think about the leaked messages between Durant and Rappaport? To be honest with you, it's so childish stuff. I'm not paying attention. I read it all. Durant sometimes just gotta sit on the sideline. You gotta kind of comment on everything. Sacramento is an easy W, Sliwa. I hope you're right, buddy. I hope you're right. But what I will tell you this, I will tell you that at the end of the day, we played Sacramento a couple weeks ago, so hopefully Lakers, hopefully there's a kind of a little bit of revenge game there that Lakers can, put it together. But we'll see what happens. I have no idea what will happen, so let's see what we got here. Lakers win tomorrow. We in good shape. Odds of missing the playoffs. Ryan Avila. We're not missing the playoffs, right? We're not missing the playoffs. Because even if all you got to do is get into the playing game, right? So we're getting into the playing game, right? We're not missing the playoffs. Ryan, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to bring in some positive energy to this chat and to even have that conversation about missing the playoffs. I need you right now to log off. 15 minutes, I need to log off, okay? Let's go sit kind of by yourself. Little meditation. They got these great apps, the Calm app. Come back after that. Headspace is another good one. All right, let's keep going here. Are you concerned about our shooting? Yes, to be honest with you, I'm definitely concerned about the Lakers shooting. Yesterday, Lakers started the game 8 of 12 against Milwaukee. Went 2 of 24 from the 3-point line after they started 8 of 12. Yeah, the shooting's a problem. KCP's got to hit shots. I will say this, the shot selection is going to get a lot easier once the Lakers are healthy. Even if just Drummond's in the game and you got to pay attention to Drummond down low, shots will come. They'll be more on time, less forced. So, yes, shooting is a concern, but as we get healthy, shots will come up better. Rick Sanchez, Allen, what do you think about ESPN's headline, LeBron is recruiting Steph Curry? You know what's funny is I had Brian Windhorst on my show tonight, and I didn't even ask him that question, and he's the one that brought it up on his Hoop Collective podcast. You know why I didn't bring it up? Because I don't think that will happen, and I don't think Steph Curry will go anywhere. So it's not, for me, it wasn't worth an additional conversation. So we'll go with that. Baldy Abdul on Facebook. Are we still pursuing Avery Bradley to come back with the Lakers? Okay, good question, by the way. Here's the deal with that. I don't know about Avery Bradley, but Coach was asked yesterday pregame if the Lakers, they still have that final roster spot. Basically, he said, we're not identifying a specific position. If there's a player that becomes available that, we think would be a good fit on this roster, then we'll target it. And, they'll go through the process. So we'll see what happens from there. Okay, let's see what else we got here. What day do you predict we'll have LeBron, AD, and Drummond? No idea, Zach, but I will say this. Can we be healthy by May 1st? Can we just have everybody ready to go by May 1st? Okay. Let's see what else we got here. I'll meet you at Echo Park the day Steph joins the Lake Show. Sounds good. And I'll demolish you, Rick. I will. Listen, I got one of the best crossovers you'll ever see, Rick. And I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm a very humble guy. But let's just say I'm going to have you leaning one way. Before you know it, I'm going the other way. The jumper is, if there's one thing, there's three things in life that are guarantees: death, taxes, and Sliwa's jump shot. Okay? Those are the three. I know what I'm talking about. All right? I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, let me read off a couple more here, and then we're calling it a night. I'm not going past 10, even though we're about to go past 10. Okay. Why Nets are celebrating. Too early to wait for our top two superstars. We'll come back strong, that's for sure. Yeah, a lot of people were making so much noise about the Nets for signing Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. And there's now the NBA. I think a lot of executives are upset because of the buyout market, the way it's kind of worked out. Let me tell you something. If you want to be upset at the Brooklyn Nets, or if you think that's a super team, it's not a super team because Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge got there. It's a super team because the Rockets gave up nothing or got nothing in return and gave up James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets. You should be mad at the Rockets. Don't be mad at the Nets. Okay, one more here. You cannot win solely scoring at the playoffs. Remember the Warriors. Their defense also was elite. By the way, not only was their defense so elite, but let's go back to some of the Laker championships. Kobe and Shaq days, they got freaking stops. Derek Fisher would lock people up. Obviously, Shaq in the middle. Kobe, as good of a defensive player you're going to find in the league. The Showtime Lakers locked people up. The Chicago Bulls with Jordan and Pippen and lock teams up. You got to be able to play defense. You just have to be able to play defense. So that's the one thing I say about the Nets. And probably their defense is probably better than people give them credit for, but I don't think they're as good as obviously not as good as the Lakers defense. Okay, Laker fans, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the show. Long show. Sorry, I wouldn't shut the hell up. I kept going. I kept talking. Good conversation. Good topics. Tomorrow, starting at 5 a.m., tune in. Keyshawn, J. Will, Zubin, and Travis. I'll do the pregame show with Michael Thompson starting at 5:30. 7 p.m. is tip-off. Lakers going up against the Sacramento Kings. Kings 22-26 on the season. Lakers need a W. They're going to have to do it without Andre Drummond. Of course, no LBJ, no Anthony Davis. We'll see how the Lakers can do. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate all the comments. Have a great rest of your night.